Greetings, dear Aquarians. With you, your tarot reader, Angelica. Today is the second reading for April 2025. The readings on the Troy Life channel are general, so shall we begin? Before starting, I ask you to subscribe to the Troy Life channel. I will be very, very happy. And also pay attention to this video. The link is above. If you haven't watched it, be sure to check it out. I think you'll like it. Well, now for April. Let's get ready. April's already here, literally on the doorstep. Let's see what it will bring you. So, let's look at the 3 most important events of April for you. First, second, third, very important event for Aquarius. Next, with another deck, we'll see and gain further insights into what awaits you in your professional life in April 2025. We'll also find out what your income will be in April. And personal life, of course. We can't forget about it. So, what awaits you in your personal life in April 2025? What awaits you in relationships if you are in one? Let's take a look. So, what should you pay attention to in terms of health? And advice from the cards for April. Let's begin. So, the first important event, 5 of Pentacles. The second important event, the Sun. The third important event. And it's the Chariot. Well, here we can talk about the fact that on one hand, there is a lack of resources. On the other hand, your activity, drive and advancement, implementation, and achievements. And thirdly, recognition of your merits, success, well-being, and prosperity. Everything is very, so ambiguous, as they like to say. But let's figure it out. And let's start with the 5 of Pentacles. The 5 of Pentacles can speak of a lack, some kind of isolation from resources, isolation from benefits. It can, of course, also speak of poverty. And here, poverty can manifest in different ways. For some, it's poverty of feelings. For others, poverty emotions. For some, poverty in terms of, let's say, little money. For others, it's something else, like poverty in resources, for example, finding a better job, or poverty in business, something else. In any case, the 5 of Pentacles is a card where your needs, your desires are not being met, meaning you are deprived of something. But also, this card, of course, can be perceived as some kind of material hardships. Well, for example, you are spending money on something. And here, I also want to say why you are spending on something. Perhaps, well, for example, someone is in great need of your money, your other resources, attention, care, love. Maybe here it's about taking care of a relative. And in this case, you are spending money to help, like buying medicine or having some surgery done. And in this case, there is a kind of lack of, let's say, wealth, because you are spending. And the 6 of Pentacles is a card when we help, a card of charity, a card of assistance, a card when people turn to us for help, and we have something to share, something to offer. Also, this can be related to the 5 of Pentacles. This is when you lack time for something, or you lack energy or skills to accomplish some important task. It can also be time wasted on something. And of course, here the card suggests that there might be a situation where hopes are shattered. You dreamed of something and hopes were shattered. There might be such a situation, especially since a vehicle is involved here, and I would also say that such a situation is possible. You have a great desire to buy a vehicle. For you, it's a dream that truly inspires you. Here you are finally racing forward, happy and joyful, speeding ahead on a motorcycle. It's such a wonderful moment for you. You experience the thrill of speed. And you dream, for example, of buying a car or exchanging your car for a newer one. But at the current time, you lack the resources. And you so want to fulfill your dream. You so desire this breakthrough. What could happen? And here's such a situation. And why else could such a situation occur? Because there's another one. Here is the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is about making a responsible decision, an important decision. So such a situation could also occur here. Well, all right, we've figured out the 5 of Pentacles here. Let's continue to figure things out. Well, as one option I've already mentioned, but the sun is also about success. It's about fulfilling dreams. It's about opportunities. And quite likely you will be searching. For example, if you are not helping someone, then you will be looking for someone to provide you with money to fulfill your dream. If it concerns, say, your dream of a vehicle, well, that is to upgrade or buy or something else. Also, pay attention here. If we're talking about your dream, if you have one, for example, to buy a car or exchange it for a better one, people from the past may come. Or it's a dream, let's say, from your past, from your, perhaps, childhood, when you were very young and dreamed of an expensive, prestigious car. This dream, it's like, to fulfill it now. But for some inexplicable reason, well, not quite yet, either there's not quite enough money, or, well, it seems that quite clearly some resources are lacking. So there could be this kind of situation, or of course there could be many other situations. And with the sun, this card is very fortunate. There can be achievements and recognition of your merits. This could be, by the way, a trip abroad, a journey, a vacation, or a move. It could also relate to work. For example, it could be professional success, social success, well-being, becoming well-known at work, receiving recognition, or a reward. Well, in general, there will be some happy events here, despite the fact that something here, lacks resources. Maybe there's not enough money to accomplish something. However, you will either find a way to achieve and realize what you dream of, or there will be some fortunate events where everything will just work out for you. And also here the card indicates that some clarity will appear, an insight or revelation will come on how to do what you desire, how to implement it. Well, in general, this is a good card, and it's in the center for us, which is, let's say, the main theme of this month for you. And also, perhaps, for example, in work, there will be honor, fame, respect, well, in general, a promotion. Well, in general, here are the very best events that, inspire so much, bring joy, and fill with happiness. And with such a feeling, when you look at this child, here, of course, a child, by the way, this event might also mean the birth of a child. So the birth of a child might occur. Next, the Chariot. Well, here you can also see such incredible speed. There's even a whirlwind behind, like the air that has fallen you pass by, which swirl around behind. So this is a card of development dynamics. It's a card of confident progress towards a goal, confident realization. And this is the card of victory. And by and large, you could say that the Sun card is a card of victory because it speaks of recognition, the fulfillment of desires, and so on. Therefore, here, most likely, some of your desires, which you might have already, as they say, lost hope for, will come true. And people will appear who will help you make it happen. And this is your dream. From the past will come true, and there will be opportunities. Well, in general, there will be insights. Overall, I think it's a very good month with such positive events. But also here, the Chariot can play out as a road. The Sun also as a road, as a journey, but more like to warm places. And this could be, for example, a business trip for work. These could be some important news, for example, that you receive by phone or fax, or it could be participation in some contests, competitions, and a victory according to this card. It could be a victory in business, but related to business. We will now discuss open the card, but for now I'm just saying. So here is a confident breakthrough and advancement towards your goals. The month, I would say, is very eventful and dynamic, like a whirlwind that will sweep you up with events and carry you forward towards achievements and fulfilling your dreams. Well, all right, let's look further. And next, let's look at professional activities and finances. Professional activity. Here we have the major arcana, the star. And the star suggests that it's like becoming a star. Maybe this will be specifically related to the sun, right? Some dream, again, according to the star, the fulfillment of a dream, some of your dream will come true. It could be climbing the career ladder, taking a high position, maybe winning some competition, or perhaps presenting some bright project or something like that. Or here, some prospects are opening up, such bright prospects that inspire you, to which you are open and moving towards. Here, some problems are disappearing. And there is a confidence emerging that I can handle everything, I can do everything, I will achieve everything. So, it's a very good card. And even if there was some despair somewhere, it all fades away and it's like, a second wind appears. Also, with the star, I will add that new goals, new plans, and ideas will emerge. And By the way, intuition works very well with the star. You might see some signs, but these signs are likely to be favorable. That is, there will be a confidence that despite something not working out, some plans being disrupted and so on, there will be a confidence that everything will work out, everything will be great. And the Seven of Wands. This card also indicates that there is money. In general, this card is considered a card of profit, benefit. Especially if, for example, you are engaged in trade or commerce, success will accompany you here, and accordingly there will be opportunities. But since the Seven of Wands is still a card of struggle, it nevertheless indicates that to achieve a good profit, you need to work hard. That is, confidently move forward, be active, be very assertive. And then there will be a good amount of money here. That is, put in a lot of effort and the money will come. There might be another situation. After all, the Five of Pentacles. Although now let's open up the personal life here. I think, look, after all, the Five of Pentacles will probably play out more in personal life. Here is the Princess of Wands, who is clearly looking out for someone, holding roses in her hand, and she is looking out for her beloved. Perhaps you are currently, let's say, at a distance from each other and you lack the attention and love of your significant other. And maybe it's even the case that you will go to your significant other because you miss them very much. Or some joyful news will come and you will likely go and see each other, or something else will happen here. But in general, the Princess of Wands card is a very good card. By the way, the Princess of Wands also represents the birth of a child or news of pregnancy. But also here, of course, for those in relationships, it signifies passion, ardor, and infatuation. Very bright feelings, vivid and open. This is also generally a period of closeness. And when people in a couple, experience a second youth, well, if you are separated, or for example, as I mentioned, maybe you are taking care of someone and the person might be in the hospital, right? Then, of course, you are visiting and you are happy to see each other. You certainly miss each other's attention and care. But here, according to the Princess of Wands, it's the anticipation of love, the expectation of being together, and when everything will be fine, when you will reunite and everything in your relationship will be wonderful. Or perhaps here a woman is in the hospital giving birth to a child, and again for men, it's the absence of the wife at home. Yes, here the home is like this and the woman lacks attention, lacks love. But for those who are not in a relationship, the Princess of Wands suggests that there might be an acquaintance, and it could be very bright, interesting, and intense, with a strong fascination with a new acquaintance, or for men, a new female acquaintance. But rather, these are immature relationships, where there is a lot of passion, ardor, and infatuation. However, whether they will develop into strong, stable relationships is unlikely, because the Princess of Wands indicates a person who is not yet mature enough for long-term relationships. Yes, there is a lot of enthusiasm here, a lot of drive, passion, love, but it's still very fickle. It's like, a youthful first love when they meet. Yes, there's a lot of ardor, but rarely do people form couples from their first love. But in general, vivid impressions are guaranteed. Let's look further. Next, what should we pay attention to regarding health? I would say nothing at all. Everything is so good and wonderful here, that health is strong and life force is immense. In general, everything is good here again. However, the Ace of Wands may indicate pregnancy and the birth of a child. And this is already the third indication in this spread. Certainly not all Aquarians will have children, and not all Aquarius women will become pregnant. However, for many this will most likely be very relevant. By the way, I want to tell you that according to the Ace of Pentacles, if it is indeed a pregnancy and you find out about it, it will be a very gifted child who will grow into a talented adult in the future. Let's look further. And further, next, the advice is the High Priestess. And the priestess represents intuition. And here the card suggests that. Firstly, if there are any questions or very important situations for you that will greatly concern you. Because here at the bottom of the deck you see the Ace of Swords, and it indicates that an important decision needs to be made. It is unknown what important decision. Maybe there is a lack of resources, maybe there is a lack of money, maybe something else. But in any case, the priestess advises not to rush. That's the first thing. And secondly, to seek answers to questions within oneself, to trust one's intuition, one's premonitions, and to rely solely on oneself, on one's feelings, on one's perception of the situation. Well, if it doesn't work out, intuition may not work for everyone, the second option. The High Priestess guides the psychologist, the tarot reader, so one can consult a tarot reader to uncover some secrets, as the Priestess guides secrets, mysteries, hidden information. And thanks to the cards, this information can be revealed. Or you can simply turn to a wise woman whom you trust and try to find answers to the questions that concern you and resolve some important issues with her. Regarding the Priestess, another piece of advice can be given, but this advice again depends on the situation you are in. The Priestess is a mystery, as I mentioned. So try to remain silent in April, keep the secret, whatever secret you may have. That's the forecast for you, dear Aquarians. Subscribe to the channel Terra and Life. I will be very glad to have you. Here, each of you will find your own forecast for the soul, and I thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Visit the channel. I am always happy to see you. So, see you on the channel Terra and Life. With love, your Angelica. Hugs to you and goodbye.